in Rothenheim. For those of you who don't know me, there may be one person here, maybe Count Thomas. What we call an active defense. And active defense is essentially the best way to describe it is a focus on your defense, on a good solid defense, creating an unhittable target, something that is intimidating and makes your opponent move where you want him to move. You'll see Duke Craven using footwork, and when he uses his footwork and you adjust because of where he's moving, one of the reasons you adjust is because he's not giving you a target to hit. And that is a form of active defense. We need a volunteer from the studio audience. You don't need to have a helmet. Okay? All right, can you borrow sword and shield there? All right. So Lady Maria is a hardsuit fighter in her spare time. I trashed my elbow, so I'm not going to have as tight a defense as I might otherwise want. What an active defense is going to do, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to decide what range you want to start at when you're using an active defense. The ultimate goal of an active defense is to force your opponent into a position that they do not want to be in and that you do want them to be in. It is also to make them cover things that you don't necessarily intend to hit, so that they will expose things that you do intend to hit. You want to get yourself in a position with an active defense that you want to be in to execute your offense. And ideally, you want your opponent to be at a disadvantage by the time you get them there. For those of you who don't know, that's not unfair. All right, go ahead and put up your defense. All right, now if I come into Lady Maria and I look like this, she's going to flat snap the snot out of my head, right? Because I'm exposing a target. Likewise, if I do this, what is she going to do?
Bicep.
She's going to beat the crap out of my leg. If I do something like this, she's going to clobber the offside, because I'm exposing a lot of targets when I come in. I may be gaining an advantage offensively because let's say I want to throw a big wrap shot, and let's say I step and do this and throw my big wrap shot. I'm exposing a lot when I do it, and I'm doing it, I may do it at a range where I haven't, it may be a little bit far out. In other words, I haven't got to the point where I want to execute my offense. So, put up your guard. All right. Now, when you feel like you are being pressured, that is, you don't see a target to hit, and you want to change your position because you're thinking I'm going to hit you, go ahead and move. Okay, she's moving because she thinks she does not see a target to hit, and she thinks I'm going to hit her. So what I'm noticing, I'm going to be keeping an eye on how she moves and when she moves. I may go this way, as you'll see His Grace Craven doing sometimes, changing different positions. I keep my footwork solid so I can throw a shot at any time. I don't get lazy and do stuff like this. You want to walk this way if you're going to do it, like you're walking in a circle. If you're going the other way, it's the same thing. You're just walking. Keep your focus on your defense. Now, when I get her in a position that I want her to be in to execute my offense, when I'm at a range that I think is going to be good, see, she's backing up here. So I know if I do this, she's likely going to back up. She doesn't like me to be there. So that means she's going to be in a position where she's not going to be real offensive, and that may be a good time for me to execute an offense. So again, when she backs up, I come in, and I'm going to make her do something. What did she just do? She shifted her defense over to this side because I went like this. So there are a number of things you can do because of what you've done. You haven't thrown a single shot yet, and all you've done is put defensive pressure on her. You haven't thrown any shot. All you did was do this, like you're going to throw a shot, and she reacted by shifting over. You could, at that point, come back with an offside shot if you wanted to and try to pick something off. Depends how much she exposes. But that's an example of somebody who is moving her defense in order to meet an offense that you haven't executed yet, and that you've created simply by defensive pressure. Now, another thing, I can get her to change range depending on how fast I execute my defensive move. So I have a defense, I come in quickly, the chances are she's going to move back a lot quicker, and she's also going to create more space. She's going to move back fast, and she's definitely going to be on her heels, unless she is really good at moving backwards. If I come in like this and she flees, and if she lets me get on top of her, I'm probably going to face her. Let's give you some room here. I close, I make her uncomfortable. She's an outside fighter. Maria's an outside fighter. She doesn't like to be right up next to me. So if I close quick, she's going to get out of the way real quick. One of the things is, you know, I'm going to find out what range she's comfortable at and what range she's not comfortable at. And then I'm going to make her fight where she's not comfortable, or I'm going to catch her when she's trying to get out of a position that she's uncomfortable. Ideally, in every situation, if you get somebody on their heels, that's a really good time to execute your offense. You don't have to throw a shot to do it. And the other thing about defensive pressure, you see a lot of guys, a lot of fighters, a lot of gals who will, you throw a flat snap, boom, and what do? You stand there, throw a flat snap, boom, they block it, what do? They throw one right back, right? So I throw this, boom, she throws one back. She throws one back. I throw one, boom, what does she do? She throws one right back. Now I know how to bait her into throwing a shot. So what do I do with my defense now, Wolf, in order to get an opening? If I know that's going to be her reaction. Well, watch this. See her coming around for the shot? I didn't even throw a shot. Now, if we're going full speed, what is she going to do? She's going to throw the shot. And all I did was put defensive pressure on her, and then I went like this. She goes ahead and throws the shot. I block and take her out with a flat snap because of the defensive pressure. But don't be impatient. Don't be impatient, because offense, you know, you can jump on people and you can beat them up like a harp seal all day. But if you want to set that up to be most effective, you need to create the defensive pressure. So, let's see. Let me get Arwen up here. I need somebody a little bit different height. And here, you can borrow the sword and shield or your favorite setup there. She normally fights with a buckler, so we'll make her fight with this oval here. Now this is a much shorter opponent, so her reaction to my defensive pressure is going to be different. The reason is because her perception of the threat is going to be different. So when you start your fight, when you're at this range and nobody can hit nobody, the first thing you're going to do is assess your opponent. You're going to look, you know, do the usual stuff, look for see if the left side of their helmet is peppered with enormous dents. No, I'm not kidding. I mean, there are people who have enormous dents, and you look at their leg armor. See if their left leg is crushed. And that tells you maybe you're going to have some opportunities there. That might be a good one to try to expose. Make your assessment. Is she tall? Is she short? She's shorter than many. I'm taller than many. So the result is that she's going to feel like hell is coming to breakfast from above. So I'm going to be able to get a lot of movement of her defensive equipment upward, because she's always thinking that this is coming, right? She's always thinking that it's like down from above. So a fighter like her is looking to defend the high and pick off a leg or something like that with somebody as tall as I am, but she doesn't want to jump. So what I want to do is I don't want her to be doing that. I don't want her to pick off my leg, so I'm going to cover it just like she's any other fighter. I'm going to not give her a target, or I'm going to make her do something excessive to get me. She does not want me to be here because she could trade the leg for a head. I'll happily let her pick my leg off because I'm going to crunch her. If I'm here, it's very unfair because she's doing super sombrero with that. And if I'm really tall and I've got the leverage, I can step around and try to make her, and now I can force her into weird positions. I can do this, I can block her without ever throwing a shot. I can make her do all kinds of exciting stuff defensively. And she's doing what she should do, because at that point she either needs to be hugging this and covering up, or she needs to be the hell and gone. A taller fighter, let's get a tall Domino. Yeah, he's tall.
The dog dog.
All right, this is a guy you're not going to get a lot of intimidation factor on. He's as tall as I am. He's a bruiser. He knows how I fight. He's been trained a similar way. But you can still get away with a whole lot of defensive pressure because he knows his vulnerabilities. He's trying to throw a shot, but he knows what I'm trying to pull off. This is one of those convoluted, he knows what I know, what he knows kind of situations. If you're fighting somebody who's familiar with the way you fight, use that against them. They're expecting a certain shot, show them the shot. But defensively, you want to assess what they're doing. So I'm coming in, is he going to throw a shot or is he going to look at me? Is he going to come in with something? If I can get in his face, even if he doesn't run, if I can get in his face and intimidate him enough, the chances are the less patient fighter is going to throw a shot. and he's probably going to throw it into a defense that doesn't have a hole in it right there. He's trying to create a hole by throwing shots. He's throwing it thinking you're going to move something. He's just throwing into your defense and praying that you move something. The difference with an active defense is you don't have to throw the shot to open it up. But by throwing shots initially, by throwing flat snap, flat snap, flat snap, what do I get? Go ahead and put your defense up. What do I get when I throw this shot? I get the pop, right? What do I do when I throw this shot? I get more pop. What do I do when I throw this shot? What do I do when I throw this? I'm going to get a different reaction, but it may be that he won't realize it's coming because you set him up. Once you set him up for that, he's expecting it. Now you use your defense. You come in, and what is he going to be guarding if you just threw 4 flat snaps at his head? He's probably going to be thinking about his head. And I'm coming in with my defense, and you're going to probably see that if I do this, he's going to go like this. And again, depending on the experience of your fighters, if your fighter has no experience, he might not move at all because he has no idea what you're doing. If your fighter has a lot of experience, he might not move at all because he knows exactly what you're doing. I've been both. I've been the guy who somebody threw these crazy shots that did this and this and this, and I didn't even move. They're like, well, you're good. Now I've been fighting for, 3 months. I have no idea what I'm doing. What were you doing? So if you've got somebody who knows you, somebody who knows your shots, you got to set them up. Throw that shot. Show them the shot. And then get into your defense. And then you use your defense. A guy is your own height. A guy who moves, like, again, Domhnall, if I come in, he knows I'm probably going to try to pick his leg off because I love to do that. So he's going to be thinking he's going to pick my leg off because I rarely wrap him. So he's like, leg, yeah, you're not getting my leg. You're not getting my leg. I don't want your leg. I want something else while you're thinking of it. So last thing, when you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you really don't have much left in the gas tank, you got enough for one more campaign. The one thing you should focus on is your defense. Because if you focus on your offense, you're probably just going to tire yourself out hitting stuff that isn't a target. You're going to make targets, you're going to try to make targets, it's not going to work necessarily. When you're at the bottom of your gas tank, active defense will save you. Simply make your opponent throw shots, tire them out, and then take the open shot that's actually going to score for you. Be patient. Tiffany, actually, Glenel is actually a very good patient fighter, but she wasn't always that way. You used to be able to get her to throw a shot just by coming into it. She's much more patient, and as a result, she looks for good targets and she hits them all. Okay, that's all I got for you on